What?
Live on tape.
Live on tape. Oh, welcome everybody. We are doing a table read with no table in sight. At least for the camera. We see a couple of them. Oh yeah, fixed instantly. Just magically appeared. I think the shot is good. Thank you so much for the help, Vlad. That helped us a lot. But we're going to help bring this script to life. Written by a fan of GTFO called Matthew. So shout out to Matthew for writing this script. We're going to try to have a great time reading it out through different characters. We have Catherine here helping us out.
Hello, everyone.
You're not mic'd up.
I'm not myself.
No.
Okay.
You can just hold that for a while.
Sure.
I just wanted to give you a little presentation.
I'm excited.
Your title here at 10 Chambers is
General Counsel.
General Counsel, and you're here to
By
be
day, but actress by night.
Yes, voice actress. Thank you for joining the Streamathon in this capacity.
Well, I'm very excited, and I'd just like to ask, this is a script that somebody has made, a fan has made, about the game.
Yes.
Okay, so we're role-playing the game.
Yes, we're role-playing the game right now.
Amazing.
In the background, to your dear viewers, in the little corner, let's see. Yeah, down here in the overlay, you'll see gameplay of our dear speedrunners speedrunning GTFO. If the game audio is distracting, let us know. I will lower it even more, the volume. Maybe Vlad can check chat and see if they think it's distracting. We can just like cancel it out altogether or something. Yeah, we're gonna start up. I can grab that one again.
Do you need to pass these at the same time? Yeah.
Here you go. And we have head of community, Kalle, with us as well.
Si, senor.
You have at least one voice.
I am one voice.
Do you spell out who's talking when you do a table read, or do we like?
I don't think you do. No.
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 Okay. So maybe we should have our speedrunners shout out, because there's a couple of sentences here in the beginning. We need voice 2, voice 3, voice 4, voice 5 manned for this. It's not that much, but maybe we can make it work.
Yeah. Which voice am I?
You're voice number 1.
I'm voice number 1?
Yes.
Wow.
I am narrator.
Okay.
And Catherine's voice, we'll just wait and see.
Exactly.
Yeah, because you're entering a bit later on in the script.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm ready.
Is it the player one screen audio that's going to Twitch, or is it the mixer board audio, which is muted here, I guess?
Player 1 audio is the game.
Okay, yeah, then it's just like if there isn't any audio.
Yeah, because I already lowered it a little bit, like quite a bit. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And we asked for permission to read this out from Matthew.
Troll Catherine at some point saying like, oh, we didn't clear it with the person.
Catherine, this was the first thing Catherine asked when I asked her to join it.
Exactly. I didn't realize I was being asked to be an actress, but that's legal advice.
Written consent. We'll see how long this takes and how poor my voice will be, because I have a lot to read.
Yeah.
But okay, starting. GTFO, The Admin, written by Matthew Simmons. Cold opening, interior, somewhere in the complex. The sound of distant gunfire, muffled through layers of shutter doors and concrete walls. A loud, low-tone alarm blares rhythmically. Initially, a black screen. We fade into a dimly lit room that's dirty, covered in moss and submerged in an ankle-deep layer of water. Men occasionally bark words at each other over the sound of their guns. A loud, deep, ominous roar battles the low-power floodlights. A shutter door labeled Z310E can be seen.
Reloading!
Do we want to give that line to Dark Eva, maybe?
Should I run?
Yeah. Just hold up the microphone.
Don't stop. Keep running.
Wet, inhuman gurgles intersperse between the unintelligible human chatter and over the gunfire. The walls rumble with deep thumps from the footsteps of something huge and heavy. The gunshots get louder.
Open the door. Open the goddamn door. It's locked.
Focus on the Z310E door. Whatever's going on is just on the other side of this flimsy sheet of metal.
Bust it down.
Negative! Do not destroy that door!
God help me. I'm out.
The gunfire lightens slightly, underscored by the sound of a huge, blunt, heavy weapon caving in skulls. The footsteps get louder and heavier. Something huge is nearby.
Holy Christ! That one's huge! Open the bloody door, you dumb bastard!
I think it crashed. Yes.
Oh no. Voice 3, that was...
Okay, Alt F4 and reload for Craig.
There, I got it.
The door lifts, creaking and groaning as gears that haven't been used in years are forced into action. Combat gear and military-grade gas masks surge in. All 5 of them are carrying several different weapons and devices across their backs. 3 of them are holding large rifles and machine guns. 1 of them is holding a massive sledgehammer. 1 of the 5 men is carrying a large, blocky container in both arms.
Move! Move!
The man carrying the container runs forward. 3 of the other men face back, firing back into the room they just came from. The 5th man carrying the sledgehammer nervously backpedals, gripping the sledgehammer against his chest. 1 of the men stays behind, waiting for the other 4 to clear the threshold. He glances over his shoulder in between bursts of gunfire. Once the last man is through, he slams his hand against the panel beside the door, activating its shutting mechanism. But they're not quite fast enough. Several strikers, zombies by another name, slip in underneath the door before it closes. They have a vaguely humanoid shape, but they aren't human, and you'd know that from one look at them.
Stragglers!
1 of the men replaces his larger weapon and withdraws his revolver sidearm, efficiently shooting 1 of the strikers in the head, causing the skull to explode in a shower of blood. The man with the sledgehammer raises it up and aims to club 1 of the strikers in the head. But the swing is slow and misses the mark, hitting the striker in the upper back. It's not enough to kill it. Despite being grossly mangled and misshapen, it staggers, but does not fall. The man with the sledgehammer gasps and steps backward, too tired and exhausted to lift the sledgehammer fast enough to swing it again. A bullet fired from off-screen rips through the striker's face, finally putting it down. The door pounds and rattles as a horde of strikers relentlessly slam against it. If they don't rip a hole right through it, they're going to tear it off its hinges. 2 of the other men with large weapons are less efficient or disciplined, firing their guns haphazardly into the remaining stragglers. A bullet goes wide and hits the man with the sledgehammer in the right arm. He drops the hammer's head to the floor with a heavy thunk, but does not let go of the handle.
Oh, fuck! Fuck!
Leave it! We gotta go!
The man with the efficient sidearm holsters his revolver and brandishes his larger machine gun once more. The man with the sledgehammer attempts to run, dragging the hammer across the ground. The man with the sidearm reaches for the man with the sledgehammer and grabs him by the front of his shirt. Interior, somewhere in the complex. Deep guttural roaring echoes over the sound of the flimsy sheet metal rattling on its gears. It's not going to hold for long. The next room is a flooded, abandoned computer room. The room has an enormous hole in the center, with the flooring having been sheared upwards, as if an explosion had ripped through the room from the floor upward. All of the monitors and stations are off, and have been around for long enough that the lettering on the keyboards have faded away. However, a dome-shaped security camera in the upper corner of the room is blinking with activity. The camera is as old as everything else in the room. The man holding the blocky container runs ahead of the group, stomping through the ankle-deep water. The room is an ominous sight, but for the 5 men, there's no place like home.
We're going to make it. Oh God, we're going to make it.
The other 4 men follow behind the man with the container. The one with the bullet wound is pressing his hand against it, trying to stem the bleeding. The low-tone alarm continues to blare.
Where is evac?
It's coming! Hold tight, brother!
The bang against the sheet metal door grows louder, followed by the loud grating sound of metal slowly ripping.
How can you be sure?
Voice 3 gets visibly agitated and panicked, turning his head back where they came repeatedly.
How do you know the warden hasn't left us?
Because we have this package. I don't know if he cares about us.
Voice 1 nods towards Voice 2 and the container he's holding.
But he cares about that.
Interior, somewhere in the complex. Cut back to the door of sheet metal. It's bulging and torn in the center. Eventually, the metal rips away in jagged, rusty tears. A horde of strikers begin pushing into the room, fighting against each other to get into the room. Animalistic, single-minded, primitive. Some of them scrape against the jagged metal of the destroyed door, leaving long streaks of blood as their own flesh tears against it. The heavy thumping grows louder, shaking the ruined door in its place. A massive, decayed, inhuman hand, looking more like a spatula with fingers cut into it than a real hand, reaches for the door, easily widening the hole without a care for the cuts it's getting from the shared metal. Interior, somewhere in the complex. All 5 men recoil at the sound of the door giving way. The man with the blocky container backs deeper into the room, closer to the giant hole.
This is it, boys. It's do or die.
Hold your ground. Evac will be here.
The man with the blocky container carefully drops it. He approaches the group.
Drummond!
The injured man nursing the bullet wound turns back.
You said you're out?
Yeah?
I think your voice, yeah. I think voice 1 is Drummond, yes. It's like switching back and forth sometimes. It's like, what? The man that was holding the blocking container withdraws his sidearm. He turns it around and offers the grip to Drummond. The injured man grabs onto the gun by the grip with his left hand. He turns it over, testing its weight. He's right-handed, and he's going to need more bullets than that. No, Drummond is someone else.
Okay.
God help us. What did we do to deserve this?
Strikers start flooding in, running with weird, inhuman postures. Some are on all fours, some are upright, but leaning forward. All 5 heroes make their final stand as they wait for their evacuation to arrive, firing into the crowd.
Reloading! Cover me!
Voice 1 reloads his weapon, but there's no coordination. The others all need to reload as well. Voice 4 fires until his pistol runs out. Then, in a desperate move, throws the gun at a striker. It hits the striker in its face, but it doesn't even register the hit. Despite having so much firepower, the heroes are pushed backward towards the hole in the floor. For every striker that's killed, 2 more take its place. The strikers naturally begin to funnel towards Drummond, the only one without a weapon.
Help! Help me!
Voice 1 moves to try and cover Drummond while the others are focused firing blindly into the crowd. Voice 5 ejects an empty cartridge and attempts to replace it. But it is so nervous and shaky that it fails several times before the cartridge falls from his fingers.
Fuck!
Voice 1 is quick and accurate with his weapons. As soon as his rifle goes empty, he pulls out his sidearm and swiftly kills 3 more with 3 bullets. But it's still not enough. The strikers swarm Drummond, knocking him off his feet. Despite Voice 1 being more competent than the other 4 together, the strikers begin to rip Drummond apart as he screams for help. The strikers, although their heads are almost entirely mouth and teeth, do not attempt to eat Drummond.
Jesus Christ!
Focus! I'm reloading!
As the remaining 4 heroes hold back the horde, a loud mechanical whirring descends onto them. Voice 2 and Voice 5 look back and up at the ceiling, above the hole in the floor.
Evac is here!
I said focus!
Dead strikers don't remain. Soon after they die, their bodies rapidly decompose before melting into a puddle of dark red fluids, not quite blood. A loud, resounding, rhythmic thumping noise joins the cacophony of bullets, mechanical whirring, the alarm blaring, and exploding flesh. A massive industrial mobile descends from the ceiling, its 5 prongs folded in. When it finishes descending, the arms stretch out. At the end of each one is a cushioned pod, large enough to house a person. A 6th arm extends from the center, and at its end is a large metal basket.
We're going to make it. Keep fighting.
The thumping gets louder as something huge gets closer. The source of the noise rounds the corner. It's a gigantic striker, easily 9 feet tall. Every step it takes rattles the old dusty computers. Its many dozens of teeth jitter and sway with its own footsteps.
Oh my god.
That one! Shoot the big one!
Negative. Keep focusing the little ones.
The pods on the mobile turns to face toward the heroes. The 6th arm with the metal box fully extends. The lid opens on its own, revealing a similar cushioned interior, but it's not large enough for a person.
Get in! Get in!
The remaining 4 heroes drop their larger weapons and pick a pod closest to them, lurching inside. They awkwardly try to recline against the cushions in the pod, but nothing is happening. The restraints meant to keep them inside aren't shutting.
What the fuck?
Voice 3 reaches up to rattle the restraint on his pod, trying to force it down.
What the fuck? Warden, get us out!
Voice 1 reloads his sidearm and fires into the smaller crowd. Voice 2 pulls out his own and fires once at the giant. The bullet lands and blood bursts from the giant's head, but it doesn't even slow down.
The package! Warden wants the package!
Voice 1 jumps off the pod, kicking one of the strikers in its mouth. It's a rare, bad idea for him. The striker's teeth scrape across his leg, dragging long, gory lines up across his shin. He doesn't let that stop him. After firing until his gun is empty, he drops it, picks up the package, and slams it into the metal box. I'm like losing my voice. As soon as he does, the restraints on the 3 pods with people in them begin to close.
Get in, Isaiah! You can make it!
Limping, Isaiah makes it back to his pod, clambering back into it. Strikers are hot on his tail, but as soon as he climbs in, the arms of the mobile begin to pull back and out of their reach above the hole in the room. Isaiah turns around to sit in the pod properly, twisting against the restraints as it closes around him. But as the mobile begins to rise, the giant, with its huge form and lanky arms, reaches up after it. The giant reaches for Isaiah's pod.
No, get back!
Isaiah tries to scramble backward, but he's in the pod and the restraint is closed. There's no way to retreat to. As the mobile lifts up into the ceiling, the giant rips onto Isaiah's bloody leg. The mechanical mobile and the supernatural strength of the giant pull Isaiah's leg in 2 different directions, and with several horrifying crunches, Isaiah's leg is ripped apart, eventually tearing it off. Isaiah screams bloody murder as the mobile lifts up into the darkness. Isaiah's blood pours from his leg, cascading onto the floor as the mobile lifts away. The giant discards the bloody leg carelessly. The remaining strikers pace with agitation at the mouth of the hole in the room, looking up at where the mobile had vanished. After a moment, the alarm starts blaring, and once it does, the strikers all quickly calm down, including the giant. Some strikers remain standing. Some get... I have right behind the... Yeah, that's my glass of water. Oh, that one, yeah. Oh wow, so generous.
Oh, wow.
Thank you. You can have a seat.
Me?
Yes.
Sit down.
I'm running.
No, you did a great job, but now you can just
No, I
just
can relax.
lean back. Yep.
Okay. That was intense.
Some strikers remain standing. Some get into a crouching position, but all are idle, peaceful even. The camera in the corner of the room has been active the entire time. A red light near its lens is constantly flashing. A reflection of the striker-infested room can be seen on the lens. Scene, that's scene number 5, or is it?
Got more. I think you.
No.
I don't. You don't. Okay, you tell.
No, I don't think he has more. No,
Oh,
exactly.
you don't. Okay.
No.
Okay.
So you can
Get into
attach
character.
that. Yeah, get into character. Interior, a server farm. A dusty monitor is observing the room with the strikers using a night vision filter. The monitor and the keyboard in front of it are caked with dust. Widen to reveal. The monitor is part of a gigantic server farm. There are many hundreds of monitors, but some of them are blackened out. Many of them display different areas of the complex. Some of them display command lines, running codes of text at a rapid pace. Behind the wall of server monitors is a large window, but it's too dark out to see anything. Perhaps it's nighttime. The monitors are all plugged into servers, filled with blinking lights. The whirring of computer fans and the steady, dull hum of electricity is the only ambience. You get the feeling that the room is in stasis. Nobody has been here for who knows how many years. Decades? Centuries? But the machines continue to thrum with something akin to life after all this time. One of the monitors underneath the window displays a command line, like some of the others. The last line before the bottom displays the words, "Awaiting cargo." The sound of a mechanical winch whirring echoes muffled through the room. In the black window, a dull red light shines from the bottom as the mobile from the previous scene lifts into view. Each of the 5 capsules on its 5 arms are open, and the arms are folded in. 4 of the capsules are carrying the 4 men from the previous scene. One of them is empty. Isaiah continues to scream and writhe in his restraint as blood pours from his missing leg. Once the mobile reaches the top of its winch, the 6th arm carrying the crib containing the blocky case remains extended. Another mechanical arm extends from the darkness underneath the window to take the crib. Once the transfer is complete, the 5 arms of the mobile carrying the capsules turn the capsules horizontal, face up, and extend them into the darkness surrounding the machine. Isaiah's screams fade away. Pull back. Focusing back on the monitors underneath the window, the monitor with the lines awaiting cargo displays the following text, one line after another at varying speeds. Verifying neonate integrity. Neonate integrity OK. Analyzing expedition. Analysis complete. Truncating. The screen then displays a large amount of information, scrolling by too quickly for anyone to read. As the information scrolls by, 3 lines are written in bright red and are giving extra focus: critical condition, killed in action, and mental status unstable. The lines of information stop, staying on the screen with the cursor blinking at the bottom. The following line appears instantaneously, as if it was copied and pasted. Deploy HSU 3108 REX ID 0747, followed by the lines, warning, subject vitals irregular, warning, mental status unknown, suggested action, retire. The cursor remains on screen for a moment. Another line appears instantaneously. Deploy HSU G01395 REX ID eval, followed by the lines, warning, mental status unknown, suggested action, convalesce. Is that how you convalesce? Followed by the final line, override, deploy. A deep hum fills the room as the generator begins to spin up. With a loud snap, red floodlights turn on in the dark window behind the monitors, revealing column after column, row after row of hydrostasis units, capsules made of steel that are large enough to house a person. This is KDS Deep. Exterior, KDS Deep continuous. The mobile, now empty, extends one of its mechanical arms into the many hundreds of capsules, pulling one seemingly from random. Inside the capsule is a man wearing the same kind of gear as the people that had escaped the strikers. Camouflage, thick fabrics, and thin leathers, looking like they're better suited for a hiking trail than wherever they are. He's also wearing a huge military-grade gas mask. The interior of the pod is lined with pneumatic pipes meant to carry liquid. The pipes extend from the pod he's in to his gas mask. The man inside makes no movement and has no body language as their capsule is pulled forward. He's either dead or deep asleep. You can switch seats with Vlad. Give him the mic. No, he can have mine, yeah. I'll share with him. Let's see. A white light shines on the capsule and an alarm blares once. There's the sound of fluid rushing through the pipes, followed by a loud hissing noise as the capsule depressurizes. Suddenly, the man inside the capsule gasps awake and lunges forward, but the restraints keep him down. He gasps and pants with fear as his head rolls on his neck, trying to see where he is.
What?
Man looks down at his restraints. His gloved hands reach up to grip onto the metal. Having been knocked loose for years of use, they do not yield.
What? Where?
The capsule rotates broadside with man still in it until he's upright. His capsule is moved along the arm of the machine until he's hovering over a dark, bottomless pit. Man continues to struggle. Another alarm blares, and another arm of the machine reaches for man's capsule. Its mechanical fingers wrap around the capsule's front panel. It unbolts the panel and pulls it away, exposing man to the air. It's raining. Man's gas mask is quickly soaked through. Man begins to panic. He pants, gasps, and struggles with his restraints.
Let me go! Help! Somebody!
The thumping of rusty metal working against itself rattles over the rain. Supports, keeping the arm suspended, are moved out of place. Suddenly, man and his capsule are dropped into the pit. You want to do that? Exterior falling. Man screams with fear as he's dropped into the hole. Falling. Lights alternate between red and white as he drops hundreds of feet. The air whips around him as he plummets, causing the loose fabric to flap against his skin. He struggles against his restraints, but they remain firmly in place. A good thing at this point. Interior evaluation moments later. The screech of rusty metal breaks, scraping against metal, cuts through the rushing wind and man's screaming. The open capsule he's in slows its descent before coming to a sudden stop. The arm holding man's capsule rotates him so that he's facing away from the arm. A hole almost exactly like the one that the previous four characters had escaped from threatens to swallow man if the metal arm gives way under his weight. Laboriously, the arm finally moves man over safe ground and the restraints lift away, letting him fall to the floor. The room he is in is well lit and industrial, with steel shelves and scaffolding stocked with all manner of construction equipment and resources. Man collapses onto his hands and knees and vomits. The gas mask he's wearing catches it all and prevents it from spilling out.
Ew.
Oh, Jesus.
Ew.
Man remains in place, too shaken to stand. He eventually collapses onto his side in the fetal position, knees to chest. A loud, monotonous female voice rings through his ears. It's clearly not a person speaking. It's a text run through a voiceover program. The voice is mechanical in nature, but it comes through to him crystal clear.
Prisoner G01395.
Man leaps from his position, lifting his head and turning it back and forth in a panic.
What was that? Who's there?
This is your behavioral assessment.
My behavioral what?
Prisoner G01395. Confirm physical status.
Man remains in the fetal position, but suddenly speaks much more clearly and concisely, almost like he's more machine than man.
Uninjured. Shock resulting in astasia in the legs. Possible
Yeah.
dynapenia in the hands.
Man pauses and lifts his head. Did he really just say that?
What the hell?
300 seconds recuperation.
Recuperation? Where am I? What the hell was all of that?
There's no response. The mechanical arm that man had rode down and the capsule attached to it rotate away from the floor he's on.
Wait! No, stop!
The mechanical arm folds in on itself and lifts into the ceiling where it came from. It quickly vanishes out of sight. Rainwater falls from where the arm retracted into, disappearing into the bottomless hole beneath it. Man lifts a hand as if he could reach for the machine and pull it back down from his fetal position on the floor.
Come back! Come back.
The machine lifts back into the ceiling, leaving man alone on the floor. Total silence. Man rolls over, still in the fetal position. He looks deeper into the room. There are no threats in the room. The construction equipment, the shelves, the tools are all covered in a thick layer of dust. It's been abandoned a long time, but compared to what he just went through, it almost looks cozy. Man reaches up to his face. The vomit is still partially inside his gas mask. He reaches up to futz with the neckline of his mask.
Prisoner G01395.
The sudden voice startles him.
You will not remove your protective apparel.
Man stays his hand.
I will not remove my protective apparel.
He pulls his hand away from his neck, but his fingers have gotten caught on a chain. He unfurls his fingers from the chain and feels along it. He eventually finds a set of dog tags. Without removing his mask, he brings the tag to his eyes. The tag says, Bishop, Frank, G01395, software engineer, blood type, O+. Or is it 0+? O+.
Positive if it's...
O positive, yes. O positive, yes. Oh, of course. Frank groans and rolls onto his back. As soon as he does, he grunts and shifts, reaching behind himself. He's rolled over something and is reaching for it. He grabs it and brings it to his eyes. It's a studded metal baton about the length of his arm. Frank lowers his arm and lets the baton roll away. He stares up at the ceiling, breathing heavily. He has a million questions going through his mind, but he couldn't hope to pick one to focus on. He reaches up toward the ceiling, his fingers splayed apart. His gear is dirty, but in good shape. His gloves are tight on his hands. He's still shaking. His breathing is starting to calm. Frank rolls onto his hands and knees and attempts to stand. He's slow and his legs are shaky, but he eventually manages to stand upright. He brings his hand to his face and feels around the mask, just to get a sense of it around his head.
Prisoner G01395.
I'm not taking the bloody thing off. Leave me alone.
The female voice does not respond. Frank looks around the room, but doesn't dare take more than a few steps in any direction. He looks towards the pit behind him, where the machine had come from, and looks up. The hole he had descended from reaches infinitely into the darkness. Rainwater occasionally drips down. Frank looks down underneath the hole in the ceiling. Again, it reaches infinitely. He's definitely in hell, but it's hard to tell in which circle.
Ah. Prisoner G01395. Confirm physical status.
Frank takes a long, deep sigh through his nose.
Normal.
This is your behavioral assessment.
Yeah.
Frank looks deeper into the room.
Where am I?
You are 395 meters under the Earth's surface. You are in a rehabilitation facility known as the Complex.
Rehab?
Frank looks back towards the pit with shared edges and laughs in disbelief.
You're trying to tell me that this is a rehab?
You have been found guilty of crimes against humanity.
Frank pauses. He looks at his gloved hands, turning them over.
Crimes against... What did I do?
Prisoner G01395. Procure your weapon.
Frank looks to the studded baton he had rolled away. His legs are still shaky and his gait, is it gait?
Gate,
Yes.
yeah.
Is slow and uneven, but he manages to walk to it and pick it up. He tests his grip on its handle.
Proceed.
Frank's posture is half bent, ready to spring in any direction at any moment, away from action, not towards it. He looks into the well-lit room ahead of him, the baton in hand. He hefts it in his grip once more and takes a deep breath.
Proceeding.
Interior evaluation, second corridor. Beyond the first room, the walls are drilled, rocky corridors that have been mined through unevenly, making them crude and rough to the touch. Lights dangle from loose wires, pinned against the upper corners of the cave walls haphazardly. Though the bulbs are dim, the corridor is well lit for an underground cave. Frank rounds a corner. Despite there being no threats, he stays close to the walls, his head swiveling back and forth, and his grip is tight on his baton. On the wall in front of him is a giant sign that says Zone 70B. On the corner of the sign is Santonian Mining Industries logo. Discarded containers sit stacked against the opposite wall, having been forgotten for decades. Frank looks up and sees pipes lining the ceiling, rusted through. They likely haven't seen any use for decades either. Frank goes around another corner and is met with a large triple-wide security door that's been painted blue, the top and bottom halves of the door denoted by interwoven metal teeth holding them together. There's a large handle in the center of the door, and next to the handle is a thick window. Frank approaches the door and looks into the window, but the next room over it is pitch black.
Prisoner G01395.
Frank jumps and spins around, startled once more. His hand holding the baton rises up to strike instinctively, but there's nothing to hit.
Lord help me. Woman!
Push the handle down.
Frank doesn't hesitate to reach for the handle, but once his fingers wrap around it, he stops, looking over the door once more. If all they were doing down here was construction and mining, why would they need security, especially a door this gigantic? He pushes down the handle firmly. It's rusted in place, but with some force it eventually slams down. An infrared light atop the door activates and begins scanning Frank from his head to his feet, then back up. Satisfied, a high-pitched tone beeps twice and the door begins to open. Unused hydraulics groan to life as the immense door is pulled into two halves, separating the top from the bottom. The dim light from Frank's room meets with the darkness of the room he's about to enter.
Prisoner G01395. Your helmet is equipped with a flashlight rated for 3,000 lumens.
It is?
Frank reaches up with his free hand, roaming his fingers across the equipment. On the top of his mask is a switch. When his fingers find it, he pushes at it a few times as he tries to figure it out. With a loud click, a pair of powerful headlights shine from beside his eyes. The light of the previous rooms don't reach very far into the room Frank is facing. As he looks around the room, he finds a dead body, recognizably human, maintaining its torso and legs, but it's been torn to shreds. It has a head, but no face. Its exposed bones are dry, its guts have shriveled and shrunk. The blood around it has been caked into the floor. Beside the body is a studded baton, itself covered in blood. Notably, no part of the body has been eaten. It hasn't even been touched by maggots. Whatever killed this person wasn't hungry. Frank jumps and recoils at the sight, but maintains his grip on his baton.
What the fuck?
Frank cautiously approaches the body. He reaches forward with the baton and gently nudges it. It's so stiff and been caked so long against the floor that it barely moves.
Proceed.
Proceeding.
Frank takes 2 steps forward, then stops and looks back. Frank looks at the studded baton on the floor. He lifts his own and looks at it.
What do you mean, proceed? Eat a lot of... What? Fat lot... No, I know.
And you want
What-
me to go in deeper?
What do you mean, proceed? Fat lot of good this did for that guy. And you want me to go in deeper?
Prisoner G01395. Proceed.
Proceeding.
Frank takes several steps deeper into the room. Frank shakes his head as if trying to throw something off himself, then lifts his empty hand, staring at its
We
open
need to start
palm.
acting. Shoo, you throw things off. Okay. Sorry, I'm getting excited now.
How are you doing that? How are you making me say this? Why am I even going along with it all?
This is your behavioral assessment. You are in a rehabilitation facility.
But I don't want to proceed.
Proceed.
Proceeding.
Frank takes several steps deeper into the room. He stops, then closes his free hand into a tight fist. He pounds both of his hands against his skull.
Get out of my head! Get the fuck out of my head!
Oh my God, I love it. Prisoner G01395. This display of self-harm and aggression will factor into your behavioral assessment.
Frank falls to his knees as he continues to claw and pound at his head.
Shove your behavioral assessment. I want you out of my goddamn head!
Compliance and positive behavior is conducive to your eventual freedom.
At the promise of his freedom, Frank stops pounding at his own skull. He slowly lifts his head.
What?
You are in a rehabilitation facility. You will be released when you have been deemed rehabilitated.
Frank lowers both of his hands to the floor. His body is shaking. He slowly turns to the corpse on the floor.
What about that guy? What happened to him? Did he not rehabilitate fast enough for you?
There is no response. Frank slowly pulls himself onto his knees, sitting upright.
So, if I go deeper into there, if I do whatever it is you want me to do, if I pass this behavioral assessment, you'll let me go?
Proceed.
Frank fights with himself, shaking his head, refusing to finish that word. He pulls himself to his feet and he adjusts his grip on his baton.
Not even going to give me the courtesy of a no?
Proceed.
Frank gives the corpse one final look, then looks deeper into the darkness of the corridor. He rolls his shoulders and reaches up to adjust his mask. His grip on his baton is tight, fueled by his growing frustration with the voice in his head. He puts one foot in front of the other and ventures deeper into the darkness, led by the flashlight on his helmet. He does it of his own volition. What other choice does he have? Interior evaluation, third corridor. Frank walks deeper into the facility, keeping his back against the wall. He taps his baton along the wall as he walks for several steps.
Refrain from causing unnecessary noise.
Frank stops tapping the baton on the wall and he stops walking immediately.
Why?
He asks not out of curiosity, but out of alarm. The voice doesn't respond.
What the is something down here with me? Does the noise bother you or something? God damn it, tell me something!
Approaching hostile entity.
Frank's stature gets rigid. He looks down the dark hallway. illuminated by the lamp on his mask. There's nothing down there. It's just a dirty, empty hallway.
I don't see anything.
Engaged with caution. Entities within the rehabilitation center respond to all stimulus.
Frank stares down the hallway, scanning back and forth slowly for any sign of the entity that the voice is talking about. He sees nothing. He tightens his grip on the baton, then hefts it in his hands, testing its weight. He gives it a shallow swing.
Entity, you said? Singular.
Scanners detect one entity.
Just one. Okay. Just one. Him or me.
He rounds the corner, and in the distance, standing underneath a pale blue light, is a striker. Unlike all the strikers from before, this one is silent and calm. It's sleeping on its feet. It has its hands folded into each other at chest level. It's standing a fair distance away from Frank.
What is that?
There's no response.
Is that what happens to anyone that isn't rehabilitated?
Engage with caution. Entity will respond to all stimulus.
Frank doesn't approach, staring at the striker from the relative comfort of his corner. If the striker even knows he's there, it's not responding to him at all.
Is it me? No.
What is... whatever. You haven't told me shit yet, and you're not about to start.
He looks down at the baton in his hand. He hefts it a few more times.
Should be easy.
He opens and closes his empty hand a few times, balling it into a fist, then shaking his fingers loose. He rolls his hands by their wrists. After another deep breath, he steps forward. His gait is slow, and his knees are bent, but he's not crouched. He's careful with his footfalls, keeping his eyes on the floor so that he doesn't step on or trip over anything. His grip on his baton is tight enough that if he weren't wearing gloves, his knuckles would be white. When Frank gets within arm's reach of the striker, he lifts his eyes from the floor and up the creature's body. It's vaguely human-shaped, with arms, legs, a torso, and a head. It has a bit of a gut, with all of its intestines exposed. It's fully nude, but has no nipples or genitals. Instead of a face at all, it has a single large mouth, split vertically from neck to scalp, adorned with rows of sharp teeth. There are divots in the skull, where the eyes would be on a person.
Jesus.
Frank stares at the striker, his hand tight on his baton. The striker pulsates with its heartbeat, its entire body glowing red with each beat.
Where in the hell am I?
As Frank stares, and as he hefts the baton by its grip, the pulsating on the striker's body beats faster and faster. Suddenly, its head lurches upward, turning to face Frank directly. It makes a loud, gurgling, throaty noise as it lurches towards Frank. He yelps and lunges backwards, keeping his distance from the striker. Despite how it looks, it's fairly quick. It swings at Frank with one hand, before stumbling over its own feet. Frank takes advantage of its stumbling by clubbing it in the head with his baton. However, everything is going so quickly, and this is the first time he's been in a real engagement. The striker is knocked off balance and grunts, almost like a human, but it's not down. Frank keeps his distance, waiting for the striker to move first and lose its footing again. The striker moves more like a proto-human, a hunched back with quick movements on its feet. Like Frank, it's more focused on keeping its distance.
Come on!
The striker makes a different gurgling noise, as if something was caught in its throat. Its neck bulges, and then a long purple appendage lunges from its mouth, striking like a chameleon's tongue, hitting Frank square on the chest. He's thrown backward some distance. That really hurt.
What?
The striker's tongue pulls back into its throat, and it turns its head back and forth, trying to get a look at Frank and judging whether the attack it just made was effective. It makes the gurgling noise, and its neck bulges, preparing to strike the same way again. Frank braces by turning to his left and letting the tongue hit him on the arm. It hurts, and he grunts and recoils. But it doesn't throw him back like it did last time.
You son of a bitch.
Frank lunges as the tongue pulls back in, and baton high above his head. It comes down with a much harder, much more satisfying clank into the striker's skull. It yelps and falls backward. But Frank doesn't relent, beating the striker's head in again and again. The sound of the metal baton hitting bone gets wetter, and the baton itself gets covered in more blood the more Frank hits it. Eventually, Frank is forced to stop. He's too exhausted to keep going. The striker lies on the floor, on its back, its head completely caved in down to the neck. There's no way it's still alive. Frank pants as he turns away from the corpse. He rubs at his chest where the striker's weird tongue intestine thing had hit him.
Christ.
He grips on his baton. His grip on his baton gets loose, and he allows his arm to relax. Frank looks up to the ceiling.
Hey! I know you're watching! What the fuck was that?
Behind him, the striker's body begins to move. Despite its head being caved in, it's not dead. With laboring? With laboring slowness, it turns onto its front, getting onto its hands and knees.
What the hell kind of rehab facility?
He's interrupted by a familiar gurgling noise as the striker's neck, or what's left of it, begins to bulge once more. Frank... Frank turns towards the striker just in time for the striker's tongue intestine to launch forward again, getting Frank in the hip.
Ah, motherfucker!
The striker doesn't have eyes, ears, or even a brain at this point, and moves randomly, driven by impulses and instinct. Frank easily approaches the lost creature with his bloody baton above his head once more.
Die, you piece of shit!
Wham, wham, wham goes the baton as it beats the striker over and over. Each time it comes up, it's a little bloodier. Each time it goes down, the striker moves a little less. Eventually, it stops moving altogether, dead. For real this time. By the time Frank stops, there isn't any part of it that Frank hasn't beaten bloody. It's a mess of bruises, bones, and intestines. Frank stands over it, hunched over and panting like he's just finished running a sprint. The baton hangs from his exhausted fingers and his right arm. The beating arm hangs limp by his side.
Fucking get up now, you piece of shit.
It doesn't. It's good and dead. Frank drops the baton and leans against the wall, trying to catch his breath.
Prisoner G01395. Retrieve your weapon.
Frank lets out a long, heavy sigh. He leans down to retrieve the baton. Then he's too tired to keep his balance and loses it, falling onto his hands and knees. But with his hand on the baton's handle, he notices that his gloves and sleeves are caked in a layer of the striker's blood. Despite the grisly sight, he's not actually that bothered by it.
A hostile enemy.
Frank lowers his head in resignation. He didn't know what sort of answer he was expecting, especially from the voice in his head.
You said it would respond to stimulus. I didn't say or do shit, and it woke up anyway.
Hostile entities within the facility will respond to all stimulus.
Yeah, I know that. I know what you said. And I'm saying that I didn't stimulate it at all, and it woke up anyway.
Hostile entities within the facility will respond to stimulus, including, but not limited to, loud noises, physical contact, bright, constant light, certain pheromones.
That thing has a nose?
Frank pauses, continuing to catch his breath. He glances towards his baton, his hand still on its handle, and he realizes something. He reaches up with his free hand to the light switch on top of his mask. He flicks the light off, then on again.
Didn't think it had eyes either.
Frank leans back, sitting on his knees. He brings his left hand up to his face and flexes his fingers, making a fist, several times. He can keep going. His grip tightens on his baton, and he pulls himself to his feet. And then he winces and rubs at his hip, where the striker had hit him with his tongue. Slowly, with his grip on the baton loose, he walks deeper into the dark corridors of the facility. Once Frank leaves the room, the striker corpse begins to writhe, the flesh on its bones gurgling and shifting. Then it begins to dissolve, melting into a small puddle of off-red juices and giblets. Interior evaluation intersection. Frank limps deeper into the dark corridors of the complex, the flashlight on his mask the only thing guiding him forward. He winces and rubs at where the striker had struck him on his hip. As he travels deeper, he comes to a fork in the corridor, something he's yet to encounter up to this point. The corridor continues forward in front of him into the darkness, while another path leads to his left. A faint blue glow pulsates down the left path.
Which way?
Proceed forward.
Frank puts one foot in front of the other, wordlessly complying at first, but stops after a few steps, turning to look down at the untraveled offshoot.
What's down there?
There is no response. Frank looks forward, where the complex gets dark and he can't easily see his way forward, and he looks back to the offshoot, where there's at least a light, however dim in that direction. He eventually turns around and starts going down the offshoot corridor.
Approaching hostile entities.
Entities. Plural?
Prisoner G01395. Your disobedience will factor into your behavioral assessment.
I just want to see, how many could there be anyway? 2, 3?
Frank follows his new branching path towards the faint pulsating blue light. He keeps slow and with his back against the wall, but he's careful not to tap the baton against the concrete. The path is oddly clean, as if something had passed through it recently. He's careful to not let his feet hit the floor too hard. He approaches a door made of sheet metal, but the door's been destroyed. The metal itself has been ripped apart from the center, peeling in towards Frank, as if something very large and very strong had blown it open from the other side.
What?
Once he's within arm's reach of the door, he reaches out to feel his glove along the jagged edge of the door's torn sheet metal. Dried blood dresses the craggy edges, but the ripped metal has lost its sharpness, as though it had been worn down over time. He leans forward, shining his headlamp into the darkness of the room beyond the sheet metal door. The source of the thrumming blue light is just a bit beyond the door's frame. As soon as Frank peers around the corner, he gasps in shock and freezes in place. There are dozens of strikers in the next room over. Some are standing with their hands folded together underneath their bowed heads as if in prayer. Some are crouched forward, wrapping themselves in the fetal position. Some stand shoulder to shoulder with each other in groups as large as 5. Some are off on their own. There's no pattern to their behaviors. Hanging from the ceiling of the room are large gurgling cocoons of varying sizes. Some are large enough for Frank himself to be curled up inside of. Some are small enough only for a child, and many others are some sizes in between. One of the cocoons is halfway through hatching. A striker emerges from the cocoon's peeled opening, back first. The cocoon undulates and gurgles before the striker, coated in amniotic fluids, falls and hits the cold, hard concrete floor with a wet plap. The striker rolls onto its side and remains in the fetal position, shivering from the cold. Frank is shocked, frozen from the sight. His breath catching in his throat. One of the closest strikers slowly lifts his head and makes a low rumbling noise in its throat as it turns towards Frank. Frank quickly and hastily reaches for the switch on his headlamp, shutting it off. The striker grumbles some more, then resumes its sleep. As slowly and quietly as he can, Frank shuffles backward, keeping his eyes on the strikers until he can't see them anymore.
Prisoner G01395. Your disobedience will factor into your behavioral assessment.
Right.
Once he's confident he's far enough away that he can walk normally, he straightens his posture, although his hands are shaky. He reaches for the top of his mask for the switch to his flashlight. He fumbles with turning it on.
I'll listen next time.
Interior evaluation, armory. Frank approaches another door of ripped, destroyed sheet metal, although this one is different. The door has been destroyed from Frank's side, not the outside, with the metal bending outward. Beside the door is a black panel with a lit yellow LED button. He runs his fingers over the button, then presses it more firmly. The button makes a sound, and what's left of the door creaks as the gears attempt to lift it away, but it's so thoroughly destroyed that the mechanisms can't possibly lift it. He simply walks through the hole instead. The next room is filled with metal shelving units along the floor. The shelves lined with large, heavy metal cases. Lockers sit along the walls, funneling anyone inside the room towards the back, where another door leads deeper into the facility. This door isn't destroyed, but it's open. Empty paper and cardboard boxes dot the floor. The shelves and atop the lockers having been discarded after being looted or of whatever their contents were. It's clear that this room has seen a lot of its use in its time. Unfortunately, most of the boxes and lockers are open, and most of them are empty. Frank walks down an aisle, his eyes following the flashlight on his mask as he eyes each of the empty cases. Some of them still contain imprints of what they contained. Among them are silhouettes of what are clearly weapons, pistols, revolvers, and other small arms.
Thanks for saving some for me.
Resources within the theatre of operations will be limited.
Oh, good. We moved on from rehab facility to theater of operations.
He runs his finger along the imprint of a revolver.
We talking 38 cals of rehab or 44 cals?
Search your surroundings for resources whenever possible. Medical supplies and munitions may be available.
Maybe, she says.
Frank looks through the open cases, but doesn't find anything. Some of them contain unopened packages of military-grade glow sticks and devices meant to destroy locks on doors. Eventually, he finds an unopened case. Frank places the baton into its harness across his back and opens it. Inside is a pistol, along with 6 loaded clips. Frank doesn't take any of it yet.
How many of those things am I expected to take out?
Inconclusive.
Perfect. Better than nothing.
Frank takes the gun and effortlessly removes the clip already inside it, checking for its capacity. It's full to the top. He slides the clip back in and cocks the barrel. Then he stares at it for a moment. That felt oddly natural.
Huh.
Frank feels along his waist for his belt. Running his fingers along the several utility pockets, he lifts the clips into the box, and begins placing them into one of the pockets. When there's none left, he holsters his new pistol haphazardly into his belt's waistline and reaches for the case's lid, nearly pushing it closed, but then locks down the row of open boxes on the shelves and decides to leave his open. He wouldn't want to get the hopes up out of whoever comes next. The next few cases are open. He opens the next case that's closed, and inside it is a field medicine kit. On its side is a pair of large scissors that, despite being dusty, look modestly clean. Frank rubs at the sore spot on his side, where the striker had got him.
Can take off the mask. Can I take off my fatigues?
There is no response.
Okay.
Frank hooks his fingers underneath his belt and reaches for the lower hem of his shirt. After working it out from underneath his belt, he lifts it up to reveal
Oh, sorry.
No, 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 no,
No, it's okay. I was getting sidetracked by the.
He lifts it up to reveal a dark purple bruise, but he can't see himself through his big, clunky gas mask. He considers his options for a moment, then grabs onto the scissors, wiping the blades clean of dust, and uses the shiny metallic edge as a mirror to try and see how bad of a shape he's in. It's hard to get a good look, but he can see enough.
Thought it'd be worse.
He unzips the medical kit. It's half empty, but there are still a few things left inside. A package of ointment with a nozzle top, a roll of gauze, and an ice pack. Unlike with loading the gun, Frank's movements with the medicine are less practiced. He stops to look over the package, skimming the instructions on the back, before twisting the nozzle open and rubbing it over the bruise, with his dirty gloves still on, wincing as he does. With that done, he cracks the ice pack to activate it, then holds it in place against the bruise as he rolls the gauze around his waist. It's a clumsy job, but it'll hold. He lowers his shirt and tucks it back underneath his belt. Before Frank leaves the armory, he walks along the rows of lockers lining the far wall. Most of them are open and empty, but some of them are still closed. Maybe he'll get lucky a second time. Towards the end of the row is a closed locker, and, bonus, it doesn't have a lock. When he opens it, inside is a rack of shotguns. Frank stamps back a bit to properly appraise what it is he's looking at.
Damn. Now we're talking.
Frank reaches for one of the shotguns. He lifts the stock to his shoulder and looks down the sight, testing its fit against his shoulder. He bumps his mask against the body of the shotgun as he tries to look down it. He adjusts his grip and tries again, resting his mask against the shotgun, then lifting away slightly, trying to memorize its feel. He looks back into the locker. On the top shelf are boxes full of shotgun rounds. Frank looks down at the shotgun in his hands and opens the chamber. Like the pistol, it's already loaded. Frank grabs the box of shells and begins stuffing them by the fistful into other pockets along his belt. When he's done, he tosses the empty bullet box on top of the locker where the other empty bullet boxes sit discarded. Frank hefts the shotgun one final time, then lifts it up, hooking the shoulder strap over his head and letting the shotgun sit across his back with his baton. He pauses and sighs once more. If nothing else, having a handful of guns, all fully loaded, makes him feel a little better about his predicament. He approaches the open door at the back of the room. Interior evaluation, second security door. The room just beyond the open sheet metal door is another corridor that bends once. Sitting in the center of the bend is a giant dark red blood stain that covers the floor, up the walls, and leaves giant streaks fanning outward. But there are no corpses. Frank kneels down to run his finger along the blood. It's dry as a bone.
So, if these, not rehab patients, don't die when you club their skull in, how does a gun work any better? I had to beat one of them into paste.
Greater cellular death or degradation is necessary to ensure the cessation of all signs of motion.
So, in English, I have to kill them harder. Sure.
When Frank rounds the corner, built into the end of the next hallway is another triple-wide blue security door, like he had passed through earlier. Sitting slouched against the door is another human body, again ripped and beaten, but not eaten or bitten. The body is somewhat fresh. Next to the body is an automated turret, still active. A green blinking LED light sits on its top. Frank freezes in place at the side of it. After a second, the turret makes a beeping noise and the LED turns solid and orange.
Shit!
He dives back around the corner he came from, out of the turret's sight, his back against the wall. After another moment, the turret beeps again and the light turns green.
What the hell am I supposed to do about that?
Is it me? Where are we? There. So, automated defense systems within the facility are programmed to exempt rehabilitation patients from their purview.
You want me to just trust that it's not going to shoot me?
Prisoner G01395, proceed.
Proceed.
Frank takes a long, deep sigh through clenched teeth. His fingers clench and his body tightens as he tries to fight the supernatural hold that the voice has on him.
You bitch.
Prisoner G01395, proceed.
Proceeding.
Frank's body moves on its own as he rounds the corner, putting one foot in front of the other towards the turret. Again, it beeps. The LED turns solid and orange. Then, after a moment, it beeps again, and the LED begins blinking green once more. After a few steps, Frank regains some sense of self, and he lets out a long, weary sigh as his shoulders relax. He investigates the slouched body. It's human, and it's dressed like him, but not exactly. In the corpse's mangled, destroyed hands is an assault rifle with bullet casings littering the floor all across the body and the turret. Frank kneels down beside the body. There's not much to look at. Any identifying features on it have been ripped away. The corpse wears a gas mask like Frank does, but the model is different and it's been destroyed, caved in with most of the person's skull. With a sympathetic sigh, Frank reaches for the corpse's neck, fishing out the person's dog tags. When he pulls it out, the tags are covered in dry caked blood, unreadable, forcing him to scrape some of it off with his gloved thumb. The tag says, Lance Carlos, R445, security, blood type A negative. Frank sets the tags down against Carlos's chest. He stands back up and looks to the turret. There's a simple black screen on its rear that displays the number 86 prominently, and above it the word ammunition.
The door before you contains additional security measures.
Like what?
An alarm will sound to inform on-duty personnel that sensitive areas of the complex are being accessed.
Frank looks back the way he came.
That room full of zombies.
All hostiles within the vicinity will be alerted to your presence.
Then why open the door at all?
The only viable extraction point is beyond this security door.
Viable extraction? Why don't I just go back to where you dropped me off?
Prisoner G01395, this is your behavioral assessment.
Frank pauses, then looks up at the ceiling in disbelief.
Are you having a laugh? Is this fun for you?
Prisoner G1. No.
Wait!
G01.
Wait! Let me think.
Frank looks down at the turret.
Putting this here didn't work out for that guy. Let me strategize before you tell me to proceed.
The voice in his head is appeased by his pleading and remains silent. Frank bends over to look at the screen on the turret and notices a power button on the screen's rim. He presses it and the turret's screen turns black, and the whole weapon folds into itself, making it compact and easier to move. He grabs it by its feet and stands up. Frank walks it down the hallway he just came from. When he gets to the giant splatter of blood, he places it on the floor, pointing at the open sheet metal door he came from. It's a clean, clear shot straight back into the armory, where the strikers are going to be coming from. He gets onto one knee and tries to eyeball the turret's line of sight towards the door, but slowly he lifts his head up.
But maybe...
He picks the turret back up and heads back the way he came, back into the armory. After walking some distance, he turns around and looks back into the corridor he just left. It's the same distance, but from the opposite angle. Frank sets down the turret and presses the power button on its screen. It unfolds itself, the barrel of its gun pointed down the whole hallway. It makes a different beeping noise, sounding more alert and cautionary because its ammunition is low. Nonetheless, it resumes its operations as when Frank found it. He walks back into the hallway, then, after crossing the sheet metal door's threshold, presses the button on the door's panel to shut it. He's on the other side of the door with the dried pool of blood and the blue security door, while the turret is on the other, pointed towards the sheet metal door. He stands, staring at the sheet metal door for a moment.
I think that should be good.
He turns around and walks back toward the security door. He stands in front of it. He shakes his hands back and forth, as if trying to dry them. He rubs them on his knees like he's trying to keep warm.
Okay.
He stands upright and pulls the shotgun off his back. He holds it in his hands, adjusting his grip again and again. But he just stares at the door.
Hey, lady,
He sighs through his nose.
tell me to proceed.
Prisoner G01395.
Frank closes his eyes.
Proceed.
Frank opens his eyes.
Proceeding.
Frank moves his hand to the security door's handle and yanks it down. Like before, a light comes on above the door and scans over Frank's body. After doing a full scan, the light turns red and an alarm begins to blare. Cut back to the room full of strikers. As soon as the alarm comes on, every one of them starts glowing red, and they all become animated and agitated. Some of them yell an odd gurgling, throaty sound. All of them leave the room, some running on 2 feet, some crawling on all fours, towards the source of the sound. Cut back to Frank, standing in front of the door. He nervously looks over his shoulder. He adjusts and readjusts his grip on his shotgun.
What's taking so long?
Overriding security protocol.
Aren't you in charge? Why do you need to override anything? Just let me through.
There is no response. Frank groans in frustration as his fingers readjust their grip. Cut back to the armory. The strikers all run through the room, tripping over the detritus and scraping past the scaffolds. They ignore the sentry that Frank had placed as they start smashing the sheet metal door he closed. The turret's light turns orange. It beeps, and then it opens fire, ripping through the strikers from behind. Cut back to Frank. He flinches and turns around, looking down the curved hallway towards the closed door as the strikers continue to slam it. The sound of the turret firing on them echoes dully down the halls. Some of the strikers scream as the turret runs them down.
How much longer?
Inconclusive.
Cut to Frank's side of the sheet metal door. It bulges and deforms as more and more strikers pound against it. Eventually, the rusted metal begins to tear. Cut to the armory. Some of the strikers turn to the turret, attacking it not because it's killing them, but because it's making a ton of noise. One of them mindlessly stands in front of its nozzle as it rips them through. It runs out of bullets, and the light on its top turns gray, before the strikers manages to turn it over. Cut back to Frank. He turns his head once the turret stops firing.
Out of time.
The sheet metal door doesn't last much longer. The metal yields, the strikers ripping a massive hole through it, and they start to flood into the hallway. Some of them cut themselves on the sharp edges of the hole in the metal, but none of them care. They want to get to the noise. They round the corner over the bloodstain and make their way to Frank. Waits until they get closer, then unloads into the crowd with his shotgun. A single blast rips right through 3 of them, throwing them backwards and tearing them apart like paper, painting the floor with their blood. He pumps the shotgun and more are torn apart, but they keep coming.
Bioscan sequence completed. Door unlocked.
Finally!
Ooh, dopamine hit.
Yeah.
So good. Despite how many strikers that Frank is managing to go through, there are more than his shotgun can handle. Some of the strikers manage to reach him, and he fends them off by slamming them with the stock of his gun. He loads shotgun shells into the weapon one at a time whenever there's even the smallest lull in between bodies. The door behind him slowly opens, the rusted gears scraping against each other as the massive halves of the door are pulled apart. The strikers trip over the remains of their kin as they try to get to Frank. He can't load his gun fast enough to kill them all. Frank beats them back as they approach. Those that get close enough swipe and swing at him, hitting him in his legs, his stomach, his shoulder. Some of them pause just in front of him, their necks bulging. Suddenly, before their tongue intestines surge out to hit him in the chest or in the mask. Once the door is wide enough, Frank steps through it. The strikers follow him through. The door continues to open. Interior, evaluation, final stretch.
Close the door!
Negative.
What? What the fuck? What do you mean, no?
Beyond the security door is a large, wide room, separated into partitions, with more construction equipment and barrels containing unlisted materials. Another door of sheet metal is on the other side of the room.
Prisoner G01395. Forward extraction is beyond the door.
Great. Perfect.
Frank walks backward, slowly as he keeps fighting off the strikers, but it's eventually too much, and he's struggling to keep his weapon loaded. Oh, D. Cholet just donated $89 to support the International Association for Suicide Prevention. Thank you so much, D.
amazing.
Cholet. Thank you for your donation.
That's great.
Let's see here. One striker gets him in the head with its tongue intestine, staggering him backward, cracking the material of his gas mask. The blow staggers him backward, and it's enough of an opening that another striker pushes him to the ground. Strikers begin to dogpile Frank, clawing and swiping at his prone form, obscuring him from view. Wet, gurgling noises fill the air as they slam into him. Their mutated, fingerless hands start coming away bloody. But then the shotgun goes off. Some of the strikers are blown apart, and the others hesitate, taken aback by the sudden noise. Frank, his suit ripped and blood dripping from his shoulders, chest, and stomach, adjusts his aim and fires once more, taking out two more. He pulls himself into a sitting position and aims the shotgun at another, pulling the trigger, but the shotgun clicks, empty. A striker takes advantage of the lapse in danger and lunges only to get speared on the end of Frank's shotgun. He then pulls out his pistol and fires twice into the striker's head. It gives him enough time to stagger to his feet. Frank is hurt. He's bloody. He can't stand upright, and his walk is lopsided. But he keeps moving towards the back of the room, where his extraction is promised. There are fewer strikers, but they continue to trickle into the room. Frank makes it to the door and presses his bloodied hand against its panel, leaving trails of his blood across its screen. The door lifts away, and in front of him is a smaller room, with two elevated platforms acting as a runway deeper into the room on either side. This room looks to be a storage room, but with a giant gorge towards its edge, its bottom consumed by blackness, and above the gorge, a pillar of emptiness extending infinitely upwards. Hovering over the gorge is a large metal arm, holding a capsule for him to climb into. Just like the one Frank arrived on, rainwater drips from the top opening and disappears into the bottomless cavern beneath it.
Come on.
Frank turns around and kills another striker with a headshot, then firing again, getting another in the chest, which staggers it but does not kill it. He reloads the gun. With practiced movements, pulling a fresh clip from one of the pockets on his belt, but his arms are injured and his motions are slow and shaky. He closes the door behind him, but it's not going to last long. Frank drags his feet, leaving trails of blood in his wake. He's breathing heavily. He blinks hard several times. The sheet metal door slams repeatedly as more strikers beat against it. He makes it to the capsule, but he needs to pull himself into it, and it's upright and suspended several feet off the floor. He needs his dominant hand on his pistol, and his left arm is weak and getting weaker. He grips onto a support beam on the capsule to pull himself up, but he just doesn't have the power.
Fucking Christ.
The sheet metal door begins to yield, just like the one before it, as the strikers smash it down. Frank looks back and aims, trying to thread between the tears in the metal to hit a striker. He fires, but his grip is too loose, and the gun flips out of his fingers from the recoil. He watches it fall into the abyss beneath the capsule. The bullet also hit the metal door and did no damage to any striker. Adjusting his fingers on the support beam, and with his dominant hand now free, Frank uses both hands and the last of his strength to pull himself into the capsule. He turns and pushes his back against the cushions inside it. Once he's in place, the shoulder restraints lower over his front, just as the final door is ripped down and the strikers begin flooding the room. The alarm from the security door he had opened continues to blare as Frank is pulled up and away before the strikers can reach him. Exterior, rising. Frank remains mostly silent as he rises up the tunnel. The lights alternate between red and white as he lifts. Rising, rising. He grunts with pain, both from his injuries and from the pressure exerted on his body as he lifts upward. The restraints hold firm. Exterior, KDS deep. Continuous. Eventually, the ride stops as the capsule reaches its highest point. It's surrounded on all sides by walls of other capsules, most of them containing a person. Some of them are empty. The sky is black, but the morning sun is starting to tinge it gray, although the rain isn't letting up. Frank's eyes through the visor of his mask are drooping from the exhaustion and blood loss. Once his ride settles, a mechanical arm reaches into the many dozens of capsules surrounding him. It pulls out not another capsule, but the second half of one, the one Frank is in. Its motors whir as the half lifts into place, folding neatly over Frank's open case.
Am I free to go?
The capsule's fitting presses firmly, followed by the sound of bolts whirring into place, sealing him in. Motorized arms inside the capsule connect tubes from the capsule directly to Frank's gas mask. The sound of gas begins to filter into the capsule, and Frank quickly falls unconscious. Frank's capsule is lifted to be horizontal, face up, and the mechanical arm pushes it forward, sliding Frank into the wall. The camera pans back, showing that Frank is just one unit among many hundreds of his comrades, all sleeping, awaiting their turn to be called. Interior, a server farm, continuous. The camera pulls back, eventually passing through a glass window, pulling us back into the server farm from before. It's still, just as abandoned, covered in dust. Some of the monitors are still active. Many of them display different areas of the complex. Some of them have lines of information scrolling across them. One of the monitors displays a command line, like some of the others, and it's oddly still. It's awaiting an input. A cursor flashes on the bottommost line. It displays the following text, one line after another at varying speeds. Verifying subject status. Subject, HSU, G0, 1395. Warning, subject vitals, critical. Warning, mental status, unstable. Infection level, clean. NRV probe reaction, low. Suggested action, retire. Followed by the final line. Override. Credits.
Woohoo!
What a read.
He got me in.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Oh my god. That was good.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Good stuff.
Good fucking script.
Wasn't it good? I thought it was amazing.
Yeah. Shout out to Matthew writing this.
Yeah. Matthew Simmons.
Yeah. Thanks for letting us read that on our streamathon here.
Incredible.
Yeah.
It gives me context. I'm not a gamer, so to get a story around it, it really makes sense. It brings it to life. I think it's really cool. Thanks for letting me participate.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Catherine, for taking the time.
Of course.
Yeah.
Anytime, I'm honoured. I think I might be better at reading a script than I am at gaming. So
Yes. Yes.
right person at the right place.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you,
Pleasure.
Vlad.
Yeah, of course. Man, when I realized it was Bishop, I was like, fuck. Oh no. What do I do? How do I do justice?
Yeah.
Fuck.
So what's going on here? Are you streaming for a while longer, or
Oh, yeah. One could say
you've just
that.
started?
A few more hours.
You've just started?
We're doing a non-stop 100-hour stream.
Okay. and
The
where
one
are
we
you up-
did. The one we did
I
last year. You remember?
But where are we up to in that?
30 hours, maybe.
Okay.
Something like that.
30-ish hours,
Yeah, 30-ish hours. So we're not even halfway through.
Okay.
This was part of the streamathon.
Yeah. Okay.
Just as a,
I
you know.
I sort of got that, but I wasn't quite sure when. Yeah, go
Yes.
ahead.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
love me some water.
Yes. Yes.
Take no more than
Yeah, and with that, we're moving back to regular programming here on the GTFO Streamathon. What's the status, dear speedrunners?
We got a $89 donation before, and we just got a $201 donation.
Oh my God! So great.
What? Let's see here.